Hello everybody, Ninjas here and welcome back to Spice and Wolf, episode 23, in which defecation is gonna hit the ventilation, so to speak, it seems. But let's start from the beginning, right? The previous episode. Lawrence and Holo managed to make it into the church under the guise of, we're going our way and we're gonna be traveling. We need the blessing for good travels and whatnot. And of course, Elsa would not deny them the last, prayer before moving out, so she let them in. Lawrence also said that he has a confession here in public, here in front of God, right? Not somewhere in some nook or cranny, hidden tucked in the corner, but no, in the middle, right in front of the altar. And he admitted to the deception. That he just didn't really want to pray here. He just wanted to make it here to talk to Elsa that they, Lawrence and Holo, of course, are looking for that abbey, and they have that is also a lie, because they know that the abbey they're looking for is this very abbey, and Father Franz is really Father something or other that they were looking for. And Elsa, of course, is still very much denying, but still kind of, on the fence about it, because, I mean, they are in front of God, right? You can't really lie in front of the altar. And the one thing that finally breaks the silence is Holo revealing herself as a demon, quote-unquote. Which, well, it doesn't really break Elsa's conundrum as much as it knocks her unconscious. Holo and Lawrence take care of her. Lawrence goes through her correspondence, through her letters, and from what you guys told me in the comments, he actually, like in the light novel, he actually went through pretty much anything he could get his hands on, and he figures the whole thing out, right? That Father Franz had some pull, arranged this deal with Ebenherz, the larger town, the devout town, the mini Vatican, or whatever you want to call it. And that now, after Franz's death, Elsa had an issue with that because they might want to, renegotiate and whatnot. But she got the letter that one of the local nobles did agree to back her up, and that's why she was in a better in a better mood recently. So now that the jig is up, Elsa agrees to help them. Eventually agrees to let them read Father Francis' notes. Takes them to a behind the altar, to some stone figure blocking the way. Uses a key and whatnot. The whole entire ordeal. Removes the statue eventually. Well, Lawrence does. He's really strong if he can just move a stone statue like that. And below that, there is a cellar with books, or rather with Father Francis' notes. Elsa takes some scrolls and letters out of there. I'm assuming they are either her personal notes or her letters to Father Franz, or something that she otherwise doesn't want Lawrence and Holo to read. Meanwhile, the rest of the library is up for not the taking, but up for reading, as long as they do it here and don't carry those books out anywhere. So Lawrence and Holo set up camp near the entrance to the basement, and they start reading, and indeed they find a book about the lunar bear, I think it was called, right? And according to Father Franz, the bear is like the connective tissue, connective thing between all the stories of all the other pagan deities, because the bear inevitably appears slaughters those deities, or fights with them, or destroys their home, or whatever, and then disappears. So if all the stories from all those tribes and religions have this one thing in common, well, there has to be something, some bit of truth to them, right? But how do we spin it now into meaning that our one and only God is the only one God that exists, right? If we take into account that, yeah, the pagan gods exist or existed, the bear deity exists, right? And someone in the comments again, I think, kind of pointed out that the theory is probably that, well, the bear slaughtered all the pagan deities, so only our god is remaining. So, monotheistic religion, it makes perfect sense. The pagan deities are no more, right? Our religion is the only true one. There are no mentions of bear in our mythology, means the bear didn't slaughter our god, so, it's perfectly fine. What happened to the bear? Nobody knows. Maybe the bear turned into their monotheistic god. Maybe it's a situation of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Bear. I don't know how Franz wanted to explain it, but it like cemented his faith that yes, this is the only true faith that there is. What else happened? Lawrence gave some tranny coins to Elsa for the, whatchamacallit? Fuck, I lost the word. For having them there and for helping them, essentially. And I was wondering how much exactly were those, like 3 tranny coins, I believe. And again, you guys in the comments came in clutch, saying that in the light novel it was described as enough silver to fill the entire room with candles. So I said it's gonna, it's gonna give her at least a couple of candles. Well, there's gonna be a little bit more than a couple. I'm still having trouble. Not really. I'm still having trouble internalizing just how much a tranny coin is worth, really, because 3 coins, well, that's not much money, right? But in this world, of course, it is. Then, anything else? Holo, of course, needed to establish her ownership, so to speak, over Lawrence in front of Elsa, so that she doesn't get any stupid ideas, perhaps, and also to embarrass Lawrence at least a little bit. They had a talk. They had a dinner with Elsa and what's his face, and Evan. Evan came by and they ate, and Evan probably also stayed for the night at the church, as always. They spent some time together. Lawrence talked about his exploits as a merchant, all the various kinds of bread that he encountered during his travels. Evan, of course, listening raptly because he never left the village, probably. And that whole entire dinner, and how Elsa and Evan were together after the dinner was done, kind of prompted Lawrence and Holo to talk a little bit about where they are going to go as a pair, as a relationship, as a group of people, essentially, right? They don't exactly have that place where they can stay, right? Nothing really stops Evan from just moving into the church and living with Elsa. Nothing really stops Elsa from moving into the mill and living with Evan, right? They have that possibility, they have that ability. Meanwhile, when it comes to Holo and Lawrence, well, Lawrence wants to continue traveling. He wants to fulfill his goal of getting that nice shop in the middle of a town and getting enough money, and to do that he needs to travel and trade, right? Meanwhile, Holo, well, she's probably not gonna be fine with just a passing glance at Yoitsu, staying for a day in the forest where Yoitsu used to be, and then going back to the carriage and continuing the travel, right? So we are at a bit of an impasse. Although the current consensus between the two of them seems to be we're gonna get to that bridge when we get there. Let's not worry about that quite yet. We're gonna figure things out as we go. Hopefully it works for them. Hopefully it does. Then their peace is broken by incoming villagers, the elder and a bunch of villagers. So Lawrence and Holo pretend that they fell asleep in front of the altar, talking religion and God and whatnot until the late night hours with Elsa. As it turns out, the elder and the villagers are armed. Not armed with swords, because swords are very expensive, not armed with like pitchforks even, armed with sticks mostly, and batons and all sorts of various variations of a stick, essentially. And again, someone in the comments said that think how poor this village is, that they can't even, that this is the state of their, armaments, which sure might be correct. I initially thought that they are just carrying sticks instead of like scythes and pitchforks as a way of maybe, I don't know, whatchamacallit, censoring the violence. Stupid idea, perhaps. We've seen fair bit of violence in this show already, so probably not that. But yeah, good point that they are simply completely unprepared for any incoming forces who would want to, I don't know, force them into the one true faith, for example, right? We know that every villager is essentially a pagan, so and that the neighboring city doesn't really like that all that much. They come bearing news at the same time. Sure, they came bearing weapons against Lawrence and Holo. They wanted to cart them away, essentially. For what reason, we don't know exactly. But they explain that someone in the big city was poisoned by the wheat from this town. What's that got to do with Lawrence and Holo? I don't know. The only possible connection that I can see is Lawrence went to visit Evan in the mill with some wheat, right? He even met one of the villagers on the way and told him that, oh, I just want some of my wheat milled at the mill. So maybe they are thinking that the wheat that Lawrence had was poisoned, and that's why that someone in the big city was poisoned. But in reality, it's probably just the scheme by the big church, right? Look, the pagans poisoned us. Let's raid the pagans, clear out the village, bring in some other settlers, and, eradicate paganism from the area. Which is probably one of the reasons why the villagers are armed as well. Not necessarily against Lawrence and Holo, but just in preparation for incoming forces of the church. How can we possibly solve this situation? I've no clue, honestly, not really. I really think that this is something way beyond Lawrence's capability as a merchant. Like, he can talk his way out of many things. He can pay his way out of many things, absolutely. Holo can help him when things go over his head and help him with her claw and teeth, for example, right? If nothing else. And with her wit, most often. But in this case, if it's actually an incoming army, or even just a small war band, or my camera just froze. Great. Or even just a small warband, then chances are they're not going to be able to use their usual tricks to talk their way out of it and get out of this situation. What's the possibility? Elsa possibly calling up the noble that decided to support her. Maybe he has some private militia that could help. That's a possibility. Taking all of the villagers to the cave of the serpent deity so that they can wait it out. Presumably the church and the army will leave a couple of scouts in this village, or even just take it over with new settlers, so probably not the best way either. uh, I don't know, ask for the help from the serpent god to descend from the mountain and wipe out the enemy forces, convert them back to the faith of the serpent deity, and solve the problem that way. That's about the only way that I can think of that would allow them to fight a, probably not an army. We're talking just a city and not an entire country, but at least some like group of mercenaries or a war band or like church guards or something like that. Still armed men going against the villagers with sticks. So they will need all the help they can get. What help will it be? I don't know. We have 25 episodes this series. So this is episode 23. 23, 24, I assume it's gonna take us 2 episodes to get more or less to the end of this arc, and 25 might be the like finale of the season. Maybe we're gonna meet the white-haired wolf girl again, and she's gonna be told about all the exploits that they did on the way. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But to do that, we're gonna have to watch this episode first, right? So to do that, you're gonna need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show, and I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube, down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, cost nothing, helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching Spice and Wolf episode 23 in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, just a shoemaker. Oh. Interesting. That means you're gonna have to return the money. Exactly. Do you have a choice? Ah. Mm-hmm. Ah, right. Everybody who eats that wheat. Yep. So even if they get the wheat back, they're not gonna be able to use it for bread for themselves, right? Thankfully, Lorenz has quite a haul of wheat with him. But of course, outsider bad. Yeah, no misogyny in front of her. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be willing to wait. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to alter the deal they signed with France. Yeah, but France is no more. I mean, there is some truth to that. Could they maybe like exchange wheat with Lorenz? Like Lawrence gives they give bad wheat to the village. Lawrence gives good wheat to the town. And in exchange for that, the village is indebted to him. Right? Stay at the church. Or not, with the elder, sure. Yeah, the only possible way I can see is, Enberg bringing the poisoned wheat to the village taking it in, saying, well, we can't really pay you, but we have good wheat, like certified from a big city. And Lawrence pulls out the certificate, says, see, this wheat, good wheat, take it as a payment, right? What would the village have that Lawrence might want, though? Because we all know that he's not just gonna do it out of the goodness of his heart and be left with no merchandise to sell. We don't really know what the village produces besides wheat. Well, they have pomegranates, so maybe that. Maybe. Pomegranates is about the only thing I can think of. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. Orchestrated catastrophe and appropriate retribution. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much certain. Yeah, hopefully. Right. And who's a better culprit than outsiders? Yep. Yeah, they don't really have a way to contact them, do they? Yeah, but you would still have a whatchamacallit, wanted poster after you. Probably Evan. Maybe Elsa as well. Yep. Exactly. And people don't like Millers anyway. Yeah, I mean, seems like a perfect solution. Get all three of them out, and we're good. A merchant. Right, he knows what the Endranabi is. So he knows it's got something to do with the old gods. Yeah, no lie in that. Yeah, I mean, that's a solution. That's not the best deal, really. That's still extortion. Okay. Compensation in what, though? The village isn't exactly rich. Mm-hmm. Ahead of time. Yep. You're gonna be selling wheat for cheaper and cheaper, indebting yourself more and more. How would they know? Okay, so there is sign of that. I thought Lawrence said that it's like you can't really tell that it's made into the harvest. Yeah, you really just kinda got whatchamacallit, pigeonholed? No, not really. Just into, selling only wheat. And you can't really do all that much good business if you just do one thing. Oh, and I lost internet connection. That's great. Cool. Thankfully, recording is entirely offline. Yeah, I guess. So, what do you want to do? What does them knowing prayer help? Like, three people praying for success is better than one person praying for success, or also a very good way to, show trust. Okay, so they're just talking details, talking shop essentially. Yeah. Yes. The four of them really seem to be the most like wise and smart people in the area. What if we had something faster than a horse? Yep. Yeah, there's also that. Yep. The one about the bear. You hear something? Hello, Evan. It's not nice to eavesdrop. Altar. Double A. Do you not intend to escape? Yeah, you gotta be, political about it. Just grabbed it and run? What's going on, Holo? Are you just that eager to read it, or is something else going on? Yeah, like bathwater. And try not to destroy it. I was expecting headpats, but alas. And the internet's back. I mean, you walked in on Lawrence and Holo. It's only right that he walks in on you. That's silver? Probably. I don't think anybody would have a hope of having 70 gold coins of any sort. Oh, some way to exploit the contract? Right, and you never had to because of the contract. And you kinda let yourselves go, essentially, as a village. Just nerves and lack of sleep? Or something more serious? Yeah. Yeah, they did kinda just take the contract for granted. And pissed off the church at the same time, huh? Why do I get the feeling that they're not gonna? Either something's gonna go awry and stop them, or someone's gonna decide that no, we're staying. Fair. You could say that. A genie in a bottle of apple cider. Have you finished reading? I half expected it to be empty. There's the piece of paper that might contain some more information. What's the slip of paper? Okay, yeah, that's good. The village is, I mean, just a place, right? The people make home. So the fact that the people escaped, you're not gonna read that slip of paper, are you? Right, they're gonna be leaving that behind. Yeah? Money? Sure. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's true, actually. Of course. Angry villagers with maces and sticks. Now they're gonna bash your head in as well. Probably. I wouldn't put it past them. Presumably, Elsa could join just about any church, right? What would Evan be able to do? I mean, he's just a miller. Okay, we're running then. Surprising, but not unwelcome. What is that condition? Okay, yeah, fair's fair. Yeah, exactly. It's just fairies and, fairy tales. Just a dream, really. Okay, that's good enough. I would say don't waste time preparing, just fucking go. Yeah, Holo knows what she's saying. Deities stand quite a bit above fairies, don't they? Of course. Gotta have a bit of ribbing. Oh, I'm liking the music. I really like this music. Like swells up, right? You're not gonna be able to close that opening behind. Oh, that's the episode. Shit. I was hoping for more. Not gonna lie, I was hoping for more. So wait, episode 20, 24, they make their escape. Episode 25, they arrive at their goal that they are escaping to. Right? Maybe Lawrence asks for a loan from his association to start trading again, right? Because he lost his entire merchandise. This time, though, it wasn't of his own fault, though, right? So the association should be willing to help him. Do we have the time for anything to go tits up? I mean, technically, something could go tits up in the next episode and then get resolved in the last one. I don't know. We'll see. With this hopeful music, though, at the end, I really don't think anything's gonna go tits up. Path of the Snake God and Answer of the Wise Wolf. So we are going to the cave, aren't we? Perhaps only to hide briefly, perhaps to seek answers about the snake deity, perhaps to... I don't know, fetch something? I don't know. I have no idea. What I do know, though, is that we're gonna watch this episode again, shall we? And before we do, I need to do one more thing. Namely, I gotta check if we already know of the existence of a second season, perchance. I think I checked that in the previous episode already, didn't I? Yeah, we don't really have... Yeah, second season is not listed yet anywhere, and I don't not create a new thread. Don't want to do that. I'm gonna check the existing threads on any list. Just episode discussion. Is it a remake question? Yeah, but I'm gonna trust that another season is coming. They wouldn't just stop it midway through, would they? I really hope they wouldn't. Regardless, as I said, let's watch this episode again. Redelius Hellfire. Wheat that's been poisoned by disease. You can't tell if it's poisoned a wheat field until someone dies from eating it. So there is a bit of discrepancy in what they're saying, right? Lawrence says you can't tell if it's poisoned a wheat field until someone dies from eating it. Meanwhile, the village head says that you can very easily tell it apart because the wheat is like black and slimy, I think he said, right? So, I don't know. Is it simply that Lawrence doesn't have that much insight into agriculture, so he doesn't know? Meanwhile, the villagers know this shit intimately. They've seen infested wheat many times already. They know how to identify it, so for them it's easy to spot it. Could be a case of that. Could be a case of Lawrence and the village head talking about two different things. Maybe. I don't know. Official representative will be coming soon. Okay, that's good that they're not just gonna be coming in with an army. Anneberg plans to return all of the wheat from our village and then get the money in return, but we don't have the money because, of course, we spent it for pigs, chickens, to mend sickles and spades, right? All that money just went away, or at least a large sum of it. We can't pay back. So that's a devilishly smart plan, isn't it? Just make the village indebted to them as much as possible, and then maybe eventually be like, oh, well, you know, we see that you are in so much debt, your village is clearly not doing well, you know, we would be willing to get rid of this debt or maybe lower it a little bit if we could only renegotiate the contract that you signed with Father Franz into being a different contract, right? And of course they would have no way of saying no. Yeah, it's a devilishly smart plan. Had a bumper harvest this way, quality of food and alcohol went up at my place. Yep, money's been spent there as well. And she spent the money elsewhere, so it just kinda fell apart. It doesn't end with just a few devs. There's no telling if other stalks have snuck their way in. And yet again, Sam claims that he can recognize the sickly stems of wheat. Curious. I really wonder why that discrepancy. Also interesting that supposedly it's just one person who died, but as Lawrence says, it just doesn't end with just a few deaths. So we still didn't get any information about other deaths. If it really is only one, then we have a reason to suspect that no, it actually wasn't the whatever hellfire. This is an issue though, right? The entire harvest can no longer be eaten because it might have spread between the grains, for example. So I thought, okay, sure, they're gonna return wheat here, they're gonna return the money, but at least they're gonna have the wheat, right? They might be able to, throw away the infested wheat, but keep the rest, and they're at least gonna have something to eat, or maybe they're gonna be able to sell it somewhere else, maybe through Lawrence even. Maybe he would be willing to facilitate the trade, or something like that. But no, if the entire harvest is spoiled, then they can't even use it for eating themselves. We have no stores of wheat in the village. That's a big problem. We can bear being poor, but we can starve. Right, that's a problem. They have no stores of wheat in the village. And later on, who is it? Was it Adele or was it Elsa who said that other villages, villagers of other villages seek odd jobs throughout winter to earn some more money? Meanwhile, they don't have to, right? I noticed that early on that they're just standing around doing fuck all, just loitering, and it turns out that they just kind of got too comfortable with the deal that France got them, right? They didn't need wheat stores because they would earn enough money from selling wheat that throughout winter they would be able to buy whatever. They don't need to store it. They don't need to pick up all the jobs throughout the winter because they have the money from wheat, right? Because the deal with France was so good. But now the deal is under question, and it's a problem. If they had wheat storage, maybe they would be able to exchange some of the bad wheat for the good wheat, for example, right? And make up for the difference in money, and then figure out how to survive with what they have. If they were taking all the jobs instead of sitting around the town square, they would have more money and they would be able to pay that debt. But they didn't, because the deal with Father France made them too comfortable. And of course, it's the outsider. It's the outsider and the miller, because who else would that be? Enberg might use this as an excuse to change our relationship back to how it was. Yeah, probably. And of course, Franz was good. Franz set it up, but not Franz was good because he was a good, good priest and he was a good person and his teachings were cool. No, Franz was good because he got us a good deal, right? Elsa, well, when Elsa is the church head in this village, things are going bad. So we don't like Elsa, right? They don't give a fuck about how Father Franz was. They only give a fuck about the deal he got them. The wheat harvest this year was all thanks to Lord Trujillo. Yeah. Why do we need the church here, right? Throw the girl out. Exile her. The messenger will reach our village by daybreak. Yeah, so we still have some time. Yeah, and only now we're getting to the OP. Orchestrated catastrophe and appropriate retribution. Right. The title just speaks for itself, doesn't it? And of course it was all schemed by Enberg. And yeah, they were just the perfect opportunity to have someone to lay blame on. Will delay the return payment for the wheat if you hand over the culprits to us. That too. If we run, it would be like admitting we poisoned the wheat. Your image will be posted everywhere, and could we seek help from the association? Right. The association would fervently deny such accusations. Okay, so if we run away normally, we take the cart and the horses and run away, they send messengers on horseback, not weighted by cargo, and manage to post wanted posters before we can make it to the association. That's bad. If we take the holo ride, we make it and ditch the cargo, we make it to the association first, and we can get ahead of the rumor, right? And that's how we deal with that. Yeah, that works. That works. But in either case, right? In either case, if we run, we leave Evan essentially for death, right? Because of course he's the miller, he's already untrustworthy, he's already stealing, he's already the tax collector, right? So of course he's gonna be blamed for it and chained to a radiator and beaten senseless. If we take him with us, well, who's the next person? Elsa, of course, the church's church's servant. Of course she got into some talks with the Enberg, right? Of course she wanted to take over this church. Maybe she killed Father Franz because she wanted to rule, right? And she figured, well, we are all pagans, right? And she's the church lady, so of course she sent all those people here, right? And she gets chained to the radiator instead, so we gotta take both of them. Okay, so the matter of taking both Elsa and Evan with them, and the matter of either running with cargo or running on a holo are like two kind of separate things. Because initially I was kind of confused because I thought the choice is between we run alone with cargo, and the only issue is that they post wanted posters after us, or we run on holoback with Evan and Elsa, and that's good, and that's the good outcome. And I was wondering why would they not post the wanted posters anyway, but of course they're gonna be faster at the association, they're gonna be able to get ahead of the rumor. Right, makes sense in my head now. I hope I didn't confuse you more. The association would fervently deny such accusations. If that is the case, the ones trying to entrap us may give up. Yeah, could be. Who would take the blame? Evan, of course. If we take Evan, it's gonna be Elsa. Yeah. Who in the world are you? Yeah, of course they didn't come here at the back of Enberg. They were there to trade, but they didn't even manage to do as much, so they really were just in passing. Can you lend us wisdom and some money? I really thought that the way they're gonna do it is Lawrence just giving up his own wheat in exchange for the bad wheat, and maybe noticing that, well, the village has something else they can offer. I'm gonna take that as merchandise and I'm gonna sell that instead, right? Because of course he wouldn't just do it completely out of the goodness of his heart. But there really is nothing that the village could have provided. If the village did have something unique that Lawrence could make a lot of money on, they would have shown us that early on. This is one of the shows that absolutely foreshadows stuff like that, right? if it was pomegranates, for example, then in episode 1, we would be going through a pomegranate, like next to a pomegranate forest. No, that's not the word. Orchard, yeah. Next to a pomegranate orchard, with Lawrence commenting on, oh, look how like weird fruit. And then in a couple of episodes, Holo tastes it and it's incredibly sour, and Lawrence thinks, oh, maybe it could be used for something or other, right? And he figures that the villagers have something that they don't really know the worth of, but he can make something more out of it. So he gets like a bushel of pomegranates, sells it for tenfold the price, right? I thought maybe something like that. But as they said, it would have been foreshadowed, so probably not. And Sam isn't that good of a guy either. Yeah, in exchange, I can guarantee your safety. If not, then my boys with sticks and stones are right behind the door. So, make a good decision here, Lawrence boy. You brought wheat as a gift. Yeah, no choice but to agree indeed. Well, they have a choice of bail, and that's the choice they made. I will ask for appropriate compensation if I'm able to turn the situation around, but it turns out that they are not able to turn it around, actually. Right? At least seemingly, at least not right now. Yeah, you will not be able to pay back all the money for all the wheat, so they will demand credit towards the next year's harvest. And then next year's harvest, well, you're gonna be selling for cheaper, and you're gonna have to borrow some money from them in exchange, and they will hackle down the price. So you'll be forced to make that difference with the following year's wheat, and the following year's wheat, and the following year's wheat, and you're just gonna get incredibly indebted to them. Yeah. In the end, they will absolutely take advantage of your weakness and read the fuck, I forgot the word again. And redo the deal that they had with France. Thinking that we desperately protected what Father France left us. Yeah, we only wish to avoid heavy taxation. We desperately protected what France left us. That cursed wheat is black and sticky. Everyone in the village can recognize it. Yeah, that really goes against what Lawrence said, and I wonder why. It's unlikely that enough to kill someone who's carelessly mixed into our harvest. Yeah, it was almost certainly Enberg. I thought our livelihood would be secure as long as we had someone to buy our wheat. That also kind of lost this village, didn't it? Right? As they said later on, other villagers also take like odd jobs during winter, and they probably have more than just wheat as well. And that helps, because say a blight comes for your wheat and you don't have wheat that year, and your village doesn't produce absolutely anything else, you're fucked. Completely and utterly fucked. If your village produces wheat and timber, right? You did not get the money for wheat because it got blighted, but you still get the money for timber. And maybe some of the farmers could move into the forest to cut down more timber, right? And you can make up the difference with that. If your village also does fishing, right? Or, I don't know, collects herbs in the forest because the local forests have really good medicinal herbs or something, right? You diversify your income to be resistant to any which source of that income going away. They didn't do that. They were too reliant on the deal with Father France. Yeah, I didn't consider anything else, indeed. Indeed, that was your mistake. We cannot depend on them, but we can trust them. Sure, that's a way to approach it. At the very least, the two of them know the proper method of prayer. I get confused here for a moment. I thought that they're gonna be just sitting in a circle, the three of them, and praying or something, but of course not. I guess this is like a way for Elsa to say, well, they know the proper method of prayer, so they are good, God-fearing people, so they are to be trusted. Something along those lines, probably, right? Because bad people would not know how to pray because they're bad people, right? Something along those lines, probably. Any merchant would cry if they dropped the spurs. That's a very nice way to show his trust, or rather to, yeah, I guess to show and to request trust at the same time. Cool, I like it. I like this little tiny tidbit here. Like they didn't have to do that, right? Like they could have just stopped at Elsa saying, "Yo, Evan, I trust them. Stay in front of the door. Don't butt in. You know, if you don't trust them, trust me, who trusts them." Right? But they didn't. They just went a step ahead, and Lawrence just gave him the purse as a guarantee, essentially. Yeah, cool. My backer is merely supporting me because of my father. If I father, so father as in Father Franz, as in church, father, priest, father, or father as in flesh and blood, father as in Father Franz had sex, cream pied some woman, and Elsa came out of it. I wonder, they have a similar name, right? Similar surname, as I already noticed, which could be the feminine and masculine form of the same surname. So, could be flesh and blood, actually. Which raises a question about church's celibacy. Is it a thing or is it not a thing? We didn't really cover that topic, did we? Right now, I'm gonna assume that either church celibacy is just not a thing, and the church in this world is just much more free, I guess, than church in our real world. So that a woman can be a priest, priests can have children, maybe even can have spouses, right? Maybe either that or either Father Franz had beliefs like bordering on heresy, right? Even just acknowledging the existence of other deities who, sure, they were killed and they are no longer here, but still acknowledging their existence. Who's to say that he didn't also read their holy scriptures and came to a conclusion that, yeah, priests actually should be having families and children, right? Like the scroll and the hammer on the church's door kind of thing, right? Maybe, I don't know. Either of those two. If I ask for much more, I risk losing my backer completely. Right. It's just a very, very flimsy, very small little relationship that they have. Nothing that she could actually strain too much if she pushes too hard, if she asks for money, if she asks for men to protect them, if she asks for too much, then it's suddenly just stop. It will just stop being beneficial to her benefactor, right now it's just sure, whatever, it doesn't cost me anything to back her. I lived good with Father Franz, so might as well just continue that. But if she starts demanding too much, then the deal is off. What do you think will happen? Only you and perhaps Lima are able to tell. Ima or Ilma? The first one would be capital, right? So Ima. Who the fuck is Ima? I'm looking at the list of characters and I see no. Oh, Ima. Oh, I mistook Ima for Adele. My bad. They really look kind of similar here. Yeah, Ima is the like Brewess lady from the mountains, and Adele is, who was Adele? Was it Mark's wife? I'm not sure. But yeah, Ima. Wait, Ima? I did not hear anything resembling Ima. Are able to tell how Enberg plans to play this out? Yeah, and then sure, not with a horse, but with something else. We got something better than a horse. Yeah, we gotta finish the book, and we don't want you to just fall into an angry crowd with pitchforks, and they don't have pitchforks. I can't even say it's an angry crowd of pitchforks and torches because they have neither. An angry crowd of clubs and sticks, I guess. Only one book. Yeah, he's been holding that axe. I thought that axe just stood there, just leaning against the wall, but no, he was holding it. Damn, Evan! The only person in the entire village with an actual weapon. Will you lend me your merchant's wisdom until that time? Yeah, I'm not sure if I can give you a satisfactory answer, of course. Gotta be diplomatic about it. If I tear this book apart in anger, will you apologize on my behalf? Why would she? Why would she? Because it tells a story of how Yoitsu was No, she hasn't read it yet. She's afraid of what she's gonna read here. That's why. She's afraid that she's gonna read that Yoitsu was utterly razed and every single inhabitant was impaled on a pike and left there to die screaming for 7 days straight or some shit like that, right? That's what she's afraid of. That's why she's giving the hypothetical of destroying this book. You would happily buy my tears at a high price. Right. I was fully expecting a headpad. Like, they are in the perfect headpad position relative to each other. I really was expecting that, but alas, no headpads here. Nice tender moment between the two of them, of course. Will be 70 Rimer coins short. Someone gave me an exchange rate between a Rimer and Treni in the comments on the last episode. I forgot what the exchange rate was, but I believe Treni are like are worth like 2 times as much as Rimer. So that would be at least 35 Treni coins, which is a lot. Seeing how 3 Treni can buy a room full of candles, tenfold that, yeah, that's a lot of money. 70 Rimer, that's a lot. Probably not as much as Lawrence has on him, although he does seem to have some money on him nowadays. That's actually an interesting point I noticed. Well, someone noticed in a previous episode in the comments that Lawrence was willing to give a couple of coins to Elsa, right? And the question is, did he just lose that much attachment to money that he's willing to part with it? Does he see it as an investment, or what's the deal here? And especially seeing how Lawrence gave Evan that pouch with money, I think it's something else. It's just a theory. It's just a theory that all this time, Lawrence was essentially going all in with every trade. Spend all his money on merchandise, a little bit on enough provisions to get him to the next town, then sell all of his merchandise, spend all that money for provisions to the next town, and for the entirety of the rest, spend it for the next bit of merchandise, right? Load it onto the cart and travel like that, and essentially just go all in every time, which explains why when the whole armor deal went completely tits up, he was left with absolutely nothing, just a couple of coppers with him, right? I wonder if all those experiences changed him, where he doesn't spend all of his money on merchandise and he keeps that pouch with, like, I don't know, 20 or 30 silver tranny coins or however many, just in case, right? In case his merchandise gets destroyed, he still has some money to buy some back and make a trade. Maybe some very safe trades, right? But still a trade. He still has some to buy some person off, or pay someone for something, or unexpected expenses or stuff like that, right? I think he became a little bit less risky with money. And still, even with becoming less risky with money, I don't think he would have 35 tranny on him right this moment. That's a lot of money, as I said. Yeah, I wonder. It's just my theory. I don't know how much purchase it has in reality, though. And yeah, the wheat we stored can no longer be used. Will also. Didn't Sam say that you don't have wheat stores? Or do you mean like wheat stored in, each house has like a bushel of wheat stored somewhere in the cellar or something like that? Maybe. But yeah, you're not going to be able to use the wheat that you get back for food. The villagers never understood the greatness of that blessing. Yeah, exactly. Instead of using the fact that their taxes are lower and that they have all those privileges and using that to make the village richer, they just settled, right? Instead of selling twice the amount of wheat, or selling wheat and starting an orchard, or opening a mine, or selling timber or whatever, and using the fact that we have lower taxes, we don't know how long is that gonna last, so let's make the most money that we can and expand the village, right? Build some nice walls around it, some people are gonna be coming, trade is gonna be booming, right? Develop the village because you have the opportunity to do so. Instead they said, you know what, we're gonna sell wheat once in autumn, then we're just gonna loiter around. That's perfectly fine. We don't really want any more from life. Just, just a beer at Ima's, maybe a baked fish. We're gonna laugh at Evan, this Miller fucker. Who's coming with me to beat Evan with sticks? That's gonna be a nice, evening activity for the whole village, right? They just settled for that instead of using that deal, a great deal they had for the benefit of the village. They settled. Yeah. Heard from my father that farmers in other villages work hard. They try to earn as much money as possible so their land isn't taken from them. Yeah, but those villagers, the villagers of this village, did not have to do that. Did not have to put much effort into doing anything, so they just settled. And now that things are going awry, they have no wheat stores, they have no other sources of income, they have no spare money, they have nothing. Single mistake, single thing going wrong just completely collapses their entire setup. Right? Yeah. They really didn't go smart about it. If I merely grieve my father, Father Franz will get angry with me. It really makes me think that he's actually her biological father. Is it something we should be worried about, or is it just emotions, stress, and tiredness? She hasn't slept for the past 2 days, I don't think. Right? Or at least not well. So probably that. Everyone in the village suspects the two of us, yep. And yeah, we can run, so run. fucking Baal. Yeah, they never listened to his teachings. They've always given their god a ton of offerings, but have never offered a single piece of bread to the church. And that was a mistake. Like, sure, okay, we are the pagans and we worship gods, the god Truncheon or whatever the fuck his name is, right? But still, to get the church off our backs, let's give them a bit of a tithe, right? They want some tithe, let's give it. Let's placate them, right? Let's give them a nice sack of money. Say, oh, God be with you, and whatnot. Let's pretend so that in our village we can live however the fuck we want. But they decided to just not pretend, to just be openly pagan and bring upon themselves the church's wrath. Yeah. France did secure them a good living. Low taxes, large freedom for the church. They could have used it to make something good, but they fucking squandered it all. They really did. They really did. As much as I had some empathy for those villagers, I really did early on. Right? Well, shit, they're just gonna get screwed by that. How can we help them? The longer this episode goes on, the more and more I lose it. The more and more I think, well, they kinda, made their bed. So maybe they deserve what's coming to them. Right? Like, not fully, because I know that there certainly are some people in the village, for example, Ima, right? If nobody else, then Ima at least, who are without blame here. But the rest, yeah, they just kinda getting their comeuppance. Ima can just grab her keg, grab some rye, and just go on the road, go to the next city over and open the next brewery. She's gonna get clientele because she's famous. She's not gonna have an issue with that. But Bobbert Shithill, who lives off tilling the fields once a day, what's he gonna do? Nothing. Right? Without the village head or Ima, we would have starved to death a long time ago. Yeah, the villagers would have just decided, yeah, we're not working. Probably. It's true, the outside world isn't easy. But yeah, it's gonna be easier than staying in this village. In the time it took for nuts of a tree to fall, Yoitsu was shredded apart by the bear's claws. But the gods of the land all fled in terror. That's the important bit. The people fled, Yoitsu was destroyed. That's perfectly fine, honestly. As I said, my current theory is that Yoitsu might have very well been rebuilt by now. It's been thousands of years. How long does it take to build a wooden hut? A year? Not even. A year if you want a cellar and 2 floors, maybe. Couple of months, tops. Couple of weeks, even. If you just want a simple wooden hut. Yoitsu is rebuilt. Maybe not in the same place. Maybe somewhere else. Maybe somewhere nearby. Maybe it's not named Yoitsu. But it could very well be rebuilt. And if not, then Holo's compatriots scattered to the 7 winds. 4 winds, right? 4 winds. And they just live in neighboring villages, maybe. Right? But they are still there. And that's what matters. That's what matters. And I wonder, like, we are kinda nearing Yoitsu, aren't we? Right? And I think there is at least enough material left for another double core season. I think. I don't know how long the light novel is. I wonder if the focus is gonna shift away from finding Yoitsu, because we're gonna find Yoitsu, Yoitsu is destroyed, oh well, nothing's left. And now what we're doing is looking for Holo's friends, because they're in the neighboring villages, or they went somewhere far away. We continue the travel to find Holo's compatriots. Perhaps to tell them, Yoitsu is safe now. You can go back, you can rebuild. We'll meet you there when I find Bob, Rob, Tom, and Bomb. And we all come there and we rebuild and we continue living in Yoitsu. Right? Maybe. I'm actually gonna note it down. I think it's a worthy theory. Wistoria, by Air, Spice and Wolf. Holo and Lawrence arrive to Yoitsu. It's destroyed, but they catch wind of its inhabitants, so they continue the journey with the new goal of finding them. Oh, yeah, entirely plausible in my eyes. What's this slip of paper? Why do I get a feeling it's gonna be important and nobody bothered to read it? Or is it just a bookmark? Could be just a bookmark, but I really get the feeling that it's an important bit of information. It's not yellowed though, so it's relatively fresh, I would say. I don't know. I'm satisfied to hear that my old friends seem to have gotten away. Yeah. We should escape. Can't take the wheat, right? Something more valuable. Trust. You can't really sell trust. You can't really... I don't know. Trustworthiness, maybe. Like, Lawrence is trustworthy, a trustworthy member of the association, so the association will have no issue giving him some merchandise or some credit or some work so that he can make up some money and restart his merchanting journey, right? That I could see, sure. You know how paranoid of you I've become now that you've teased me so much? Yeah, I mean... Yeah, this much teasing would do that. Absolutely. We'll be tightening up the budget. Yep. You've grown quiet and restrained lately. They might hand you over to Enberg as a heretic. Yeah, they absolutely would. You might have to give up a lot of things, but there should be a lot of things you'll gain on the way. Yeah, I mean, right now they have a simple living, but a simple living, right? Meanwhile, when they go out into the world, the living becomes more complicated, but also less simple in the good way, right? Lower lows, higher highs. Bigger risks, but also bigger gains. Potential gains, but also bigger losses, right? Like, right now, Evan is living in the mill or in the church, eats a loaf of bread, a sausage, and a piece of cheese a day, drinks a couple of jugs of water and maybe a jug of beer, and that's his everyday. He wakes up, he mills flour, he eats, he visits Elsa, they talk, he eats, he sleeps, he wakes up, goes to the mill, mills flour, right? Simple living. Doesn't require much of him, but also doesn't give much back. Meanwhile, if he goes out into the wider world, well, he's gonna have to find a trade, he's gonna have to find a job. Will he be able to do that? We don't know. Will he keep that job? We don't know. How much is he gonna earn? Is someone's gonna try to fuck him over, right? But also, if he does find a good job, if he does start earning a lot of money, there are lots of opportunities for him. Maybe open his own business eventually. The business fails. Yes, it could. But what if it succeeds? Right? A lot of ways to, you know, high highs, low lows, as I said. Choosing your path at a fork takes only an instant, but it has an effect on your entire life. Yeah. One condition. Yeah, think of everything that happens after this as a dream before the dawn. I'm a fairy that brews beer, right? We're taking the back door out. Your hometown will this. It's not as though your hometown will disappear tomorrow. Be glad it still exists. Yeah, Holo knows what she's talking about because her hometown did disappear. Question is, will Evan and Elsa be willing to return to a hometown such as it is? Right? They return. They just get caught and brought to Enberg for a trial or whatever, right? They don't really have a living anymore in this place, do they? Sucks that all of the books by Father Franz will probably gonna end up burned if the villagers find them. And if not villagers, then the church. That's the thing that sucks here the most, I think. Yeah, really sucks that they just can't take them with them. Yeah, don't lump me together with fairies. Fairies are just whatever. What are they talking about here? Even I have lost to her strong sense of presence. Hmm? Do not worry, this is the only human form I can take. What's she talking about here? Why would he worry that she can take different forms? I don't know. A chance for some good old ribbing, for sure, but still. Are you ready? Ready, and that's the end. I really got immersed, like really fucking immersed by the end of it, and this ending just came as a, whatchamacallit, jump scare, a bit, gonna admit. Oh boy, an hour and a half, holy shit. That's gonna be a long video. That's gonna be a long video, an hour and a half. But it was a good one, like, for sure. This episode really contained a lot, and a lot of change along the way. Usually, I noticed episodes of Spice and Wolf don't have that much change in general, right? Either some change happens at the beginning, which prompts the rest of the episode, or the episode gets to some point that creates that change at the end of it, or the change in general is the point of the episode, so it happens somewhere in the middle, but usually it's just one spot of change here. Meanwhile, during this episode, so much has changed along the way. My expectations of how they're gonna solve this situation changed multiple times. The possible solution that is like actually real, not just what I think, but actually, something that they're trying to figure out, that also changed multiple times, from perhaps Lawrence lending them some money to Lawrence lending them some wheat, as I expected, to Lawrence trying to figure some other way out, to Lawrence and Holo escaping, to everybody escaping, right? It kept shifting, and even at the end, seeing the title of the next episode containing Path of the Snake God really makes me wonder if we are actually going to get to the Snake God to ask them for help. Although I wonder if it's just Path of the Snake God as a path through the mountains or something that they can use to escape, right? It's just called Path of the Snake God because it snakes around the mountains like a snake and it leads to the cave. And maybe we gotta go through the cave to get to the other side of the mountain range. could very well be the case. I don't know. So could very well be that the path of the snake god is very literal here, and we're not actually going to be involving the deity themselves. Answer of the wise wolf? I don't know. Could be Lawrence's marry me and Holo's answer yes. Entirely possible. Would Elsa be able to officiate the wedding? Probably. Not that much of a crack theory, is it? Yeah, a good episode with plenty of twists and turns, and still keeps me wondering where exactly it's gonna go. Like, I'm pretty sure that they're just gonna escape, and episode 24 is gonna be the escape episode, with and the travel episode, with episode 25 will be them arriving at the next big city and separating with Evan and Elsa, and the both of them going to look for a job as carpenters or whatever else, and that's where we end the season. Maybe. Or something could still go tits up, or Elsa could get cold feet and decide I'm turning back, or any number of things can happen. So even with so much having changed throughout the episode, I still expect more to change still. I'm not sure if it will, but this episode kind of primed me to expect more change, I guess you could say. I wonder. Also, I gotta say that a very, very interesting conclusion of this arc, right? Like, every single time something happens in this show, in this story, Lawrence and Holo get involved somehow and they resolve that matter, right? Be it the silver trade, they didn't just say, yeah, we're not doing that, and just went their own way. They got involved, right? Then like, what was next? The armor trade, well, that just kind of fell flat on its ass through no fault of their own, so not like they could have decided to not get involved. But every time something happens, they get involved and they get out of that situation somehow. This time, though, I find it interesting that they essentially said, nope, fuck it. That just goes way above our heads. We're not gonna be dealing with fucking politics, with armed people coming here to take us away. We're not even gonna attempt it. We're just gonna run away to the Merchant Association, gonna stay there, bar the door, and stay there until the danger is over. Right? I like it. I really do like it. Very often in stories like that, similar stories, you see the main characters take up pretty much every single challenge, right? Like, how many fantasy or isekai or rebirth stories there are where the main character gets thrown into the world, kills a couple of orcs, and then goes for an audience with the king. The king tells, I'm gonna give you a piece of land. They go there, they build a castle, and then they deal with international politics, right? Like, and they fight a dragon somewhere along the way, because of course, right? How many series there are that they just take it all in stride? This is nice, this is fresh. They say, no, this is too big. I'm just a merchant. Holo is just a traveling nun. We're not getting involved in this. We don't want to get involved in this. We have no, like, way of getting involved in this. We have no way of solving it. We're just gonna fucking run. We're gonna take the people we grew to like, and we're gonna run. That's it. I like it. I really, really freaking do. Even if they decide to come back and get involved in the end, which is not entirely out of the question, I really appreciate the initial decision of, this is too much. No, we're gonna go, we're gonna sell our, well, we're gonna abandon our wheat, but we're gonna go, we're gonna figure things out. We're not gonna risk it. Just not something we're willing to do. I like it. I really, really, truly, truly do. Yeah. I think that's gonna be it for this episode. already over an hour and a half, so that's gonna be a bit longer. Hopefully you can forgive me that. But besides that, you tell me. You guys tell me, what did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories? No spoilers, please, I beg of you. I like reading long comments, I read every single comment, but please don't include spoilers in them, right? If you do want to talk spoilers though, Discord, it's here, also linked in the description, you can do that there. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Spice and Wolf, but also Bye Bye Earth, Wistoria, Isekai, Shikkaku, QA, Isekai, plenty others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified of when I go live, because I do go live sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on the Patreon, YouTube down below on Patreon. For $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube through memberships, super thanks, super chats, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without an Edza, Rene, Sam Greenwood, Yuki Ally, Dr. Watako, Monster, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to get involved in politics.